Hi Eunice, thank you very much for sending me your second presentation. This one was a lot more structured, a lot more clear as to exactly what you were talking about. You had a clear introduction, you had a good outline. In your outline, I think you suggested that you're going to discuss three topics, but you didn't exactly say what those three were. The reason why it would be a good idea to mention which areas you're going to explore is so if you do not have time to complete all of the aspects in your presentation, at least the assessor knows that these were what you were intending to talk about. So in your outline, if you could mention, so this is my introduction, I'm going to talk about in my introduction I'm going to explore, or I'm going to discuss three areas, and they are learning on TV, the resources, just bullet points of what you're going to talk about. That really would help. Secondly, I think it was in the second point that you mentioned your opinion, which was really good. But if you remember, on the board, I mentioned something on one of the occasions, and I said that a fantastic method that the assessor really, really likes is if you give your opinion, and then you give the reason for your opinion, and then you give an example, ORE. I don't know if you remember that, I wrote it on the board. So in one of the aspects that you were talking about, for example, the fact that, say, in part 3, the images or the information that the television gives is quite distorted, it's not true, it's something that is made up. Okay, so that could be your opinion. In my opinion, a lot of what TV, say, news or documentaries say are made up because later on we find that the facts and the figures were incorrect. For example, we see that there are lots more casualties than what has already been discussed or been said. So what I've done here is I've given my opinion, I've given the reason for my opinion, and then I gave some examples. Okay, you concluded, so all the parts of the structure were there, and you gave some very good vocabulary. That was really good. There was a little bit of a pause, I think, between parts 1 and 2, which is absolutely fine. If I could just ask you to speed up your pace of speech, so if you could talk a little bit faster. I know it's very difficult because we have to think on the spot of what we want to say, so I do understand it's difficult. The reason being because you went up to, I think it was 2 minutes and 20 something seconds. So in your exam, I would have to put my hand up bang on 2 minutes, which means you would be in the middle of part 3 of your presentation. So if you could speed it up a little bit more, that would really help. But going back, basically just to reiterating, summing up your presentation, the introduction was there. You mentioned that you want to talk about 3 points. If you could mention in bullet points what those 3 are, just little 1 or 2 words for each point, that would be fantastic. When you talk about each point, it doesn't have to be for a long period of time, as long as you have your opinion, the reason for your opinion, and an example. If you could have it in that method, in that order, that's where you get the marks. Don't worry too much about the vocabulary, pardon me, don't worry too much about the grammar. So you might, for example, lose just 1 mark for the whole of the presentation if your grammar isn't spot on. But the main factor is that the structure is there, and you've got your opinion followed by the reason for your opinion and the example. Okay, on the whole, that was a very good presentation. Well done. So if you want to send me some more tonight, I'll still be here, and hopefully I'll get back to you again with more feedback. Thanks a lot.